The human being may be likened unto a circular avenue, divided by a central wall, which separates the known from the unknown. We begin at the center of this wall, our conscious point, and look towards the outer edge of the circle. We see one hemisphere and one only. What pertains to that other hemisphere is the one behind the conscious point. Make the trial to assertion what lies on the thither side. Seek to fathom the soul within you, and what results? Why, the wall is reached, nothing more. You strike it, you think it, you feel of it, but cannot recede from nor look behind yourself. But that there is a greater mystery behind than the one before you is proved by in the fact that your entire being is but the result of an infinite, propulsive power which whirls you into being, but will never hurl you out. There is a point reachable, quite beyond that of our outer consciousness. Well, the man strove to baffle the tendency to somnolence. His brain was one living mass of phosphor-like luminescence. There was a large and brilliant globe, apparently of white fire mist, encompassing the head. Its center rested exactly on what the anatomists call the corpus callosum. And this body, this central cerebral viscus, I affirm to be the seat of the consciousness, the blazing throne of the immortal soul. On other occasions I have beheld similar bright globes of what can only be compared to by pure fire. Others claim to have witnessed the same. They have described it, and uniformly, nay, invariably, located this ball on the precise spot indicated. The volume of this singular something varies in different people, from the bulk of the large pea to 3 or 4 some inches in mean diameter, in which the latter case, it, of course, has only its axis in the place indicated, while its body penetrates the circumjacent brain. The effulgence as the volume also varies in different persons. In some it is, comparatively speaking, no brighter than the flame of the good candle, while in others it is the infinite intensification of the dazzling radiance of the Drummond or the calcium light. In the man before me this globe was nearly a perfect sphere. In other instances I have observed its shape to be somewhat angular. The better the person, the greater the intelligence, intuitive, not mere memory learning, the larger, smoother, and rounder its wondrous soul sun. This central globe is the sun of the microcosm, a duller globe of fire, situated behind the stomach in the solar plexus. It is the moon, and the fernal organs are the stars. The passional organs are the planets. The sensations are the meteors, etc., etc. There being not merely a perfect correspondence, but a wonderful similarity, complete and full, between the universe without and the universe within. In the student I beheld the operations of this great mystery. Whenever the drowsiness came over him, and he exerted his will to keep it off, I noticed that one side of the winged globe, for there were 2 wing-like appendages attached thereto, something like the connections of the uterus, would collapse, and straightway a perfect stream of radiant fire flecks went forth in the opposite direction, like spark rays from the sun. These coruscations sped through all parts of the brain, causing it to sparkle more brightly. They ran along the nerves and leaped into the muscles, and diffused new life and animation throughout the body, which being accomplished, the globe resumed its former shape again. This struck me as being at both sublime and curious. But something still more so now took place. As I observed above, when he strove to keep awake, the globe became indented from the outside, which was generally smooth, albeit a countless multitude of filminous rays of light streamed forth in all directions. The surface meanwhile retained its polished, burnished, and ineffably dazzling general appearance. The man laid down his book, lifted a pen, dipped in the inkstand, held it over the table for a while, and appeared to be concentrating his thoughts. And while he did so, winged globe within his head began to enlarge until it occupied not less than 4 times its original space within the brain. This it did gradually, and as gradually resumed its former bulk. But in the meantime, his hand had flown over the paper, and the man had indited a thought. Anxious to know what this thought was, I looked upon the paper and surprised by the observing a very curious phenomenon. The words written upon the paper were, "The ancients were far behind the moderns in general intelligence, but far, very far beyond them in isolated instances of mental power. Probably the simplicity of the lives of devout men of yore had a power influence in bringing out the concealed treasures and in developing the extraordinarily conceptive power which not a few of them undoubtedly possessed. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Job, and the great Cathayan have never been equaled in several specialities by men of the later times. It is extremely doubtful if they ever will be. Really, great men are few and scarce in any age, but popular men are plentiful in all eras. It is only the sad-hearted man, he who stands and walks alone in the crowded cities of the world, shunned, laughed at, derided, scorned, and unsupported, who succeeds in ever graving a name upon the walls of time. And of all that ever lived, Jesus the Nazarene looms up in such magnificent proportions over the edges of the dead years that we instinctively know that he was the real personage, one who lived and loved, suffered and died with, for and among men. And we reject the absurdities of Strauss and the cavillers, and triumphantly proclaim that Jesus was not a myth. He sought to do good, and not to merit the plaudits of the mob, or those who rule. A popular man is one who keeps just within the front ranks of the human army, leading it whither its fancy and whim may at the moment prompt. But a great man is one who volunteers to become the pioneer of the race, and is, at the same time, the herald of the coming age of goodness. He feels the pulse of God in his heart, and he knows to live, and lives to know. We are approaching an era when human genius shall be the rule and not the exception, as